Have you ever stopped to think about how technology has shaped our lives? How much it distracts us and pulls us away from what truly matters? I'm Selena Martin, and during a near-death experience, God revealed something to me about modern technology that will surprise you. The truth is, we're being consumed by a digital world that promises connection, but only brings more loneliness and emptiness. I experienced this firsthand, but through this divine revelation, I found the key to reclaiming the true connection with what really matters: our soul, our relationships, and our faith. If you also feel that technology is dragging you away from what's truly important, this story is for you. Get ready to discover a truth that could change your life. Before we continue, just one thing. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any part of this journey. Now let's dive into the story. What I'm about to share isn't a dream or a product of imagination. It's something that really happened to me, something that completely changed my perspective on life and what comes after it. It was a typical day. I had left home to handle my daily tasks. You know how it feels when you're on autopilot? That's exactly how I was. I was walking down the street thinking about bills, my phone needing a charge, the message I needed to reply to, and then suddenly everything stopped. Out of nowhere, a flash of light. I saw nothing else. I heard no horns, felt no impact, just silence, then a white void, as if the world had vanished. That's when everything changed. I somehow knew that I had died. Clinical death, they later told me. My heart had stopped for 13 minutes and 42 seconds, but during that time, while my body was still, I woke up in another place. It was a place that words can't describe. Everything was peace, everything was light, no fear, no pain, no weight, just the feeling of being carried, protected like a baby in a mother's arms. And it was then that I sensed a presence. It wasn't a voice, it wasn't an image, it was something understood without words. Deep inside, I felt that it was God. I know this may sound strange, but there was no room for doubt. I didn't need to see a throne or angels singing. What I felt was a love so strong, so welcoming, that it brought me to tears. Yes, I cried because for the first time I truly understood what it means to be loved unconditionally. He didn't judge me or ask anything from me. He simply wrapped me in an invisible embrace that healed all the wounds I didn't even realize I was carrying. In that moment, I felt completely at home, and that's how my out-of-body journey began. A journey that goes far beyond what we can imagine with our eyes wide open. A journey I'll never forget. After that invisible embrace, I felt as if I were being carried by a gentle breeze. Everything was so light, so calm. It was as if time no longer existed. Then something strange happened. A kind of mirror appeared before me, but it didn't reflect my face. Instead, it showed moments from my life, small scenes, like I was watching a movie where I was the main character. I saw myself on the couch, phone in hand. I was with my mother in the living room, but barely aware of her presence. I saw my father walk by trying to start a conversation, and I just gave half-hearted glances at the screen. Then I saw myself in bed, endlessly scrolling through my feed late at night, feeling an emptiness I tried to fill with videos, photos, and messages, but none of that truly satisfied me. It was like eating a pile of sweets and still feeling hungry. Then the presence I recognized as God spoke to me, not with words, but with a feeling that overwhelmed me. And he helped me understand something simple yet profound. I had lost myself in distractions. In that moment, the realization hit me. Technology wasn't the problem. The problem was how I used it. I saw that I spent hours connected to the world but completely disconnected from myself, my soul, the people who loved me, and most importantly, from God. It was hard to see this so clearly, but it wasn't meant to hurt me. It was meant to wake me up. I realized that little device I always had in my hand had become a kind of shield between me and the real world. I thought about how many times I had failed to look someone in the eyes, how many times I had ignored my heart, silencing my mind because I was too busy watching other people's lives. There, in that timeless space, I saw that I was becoming a stranger to myself, all because of a distraction that seemed harmless but was stealing what truly mattered. And once again, I cried, but this time not from sadness. I cried because I understood, because I realized there was still time, and if I went back I could do things differently. After everything I had seen, I thought nothing could surprise me anymore, but I was wrong. I was taken to a place that felt like heaven, but without clouds. It was a vast space, filled with golden light that pulsed as if it had a life of its own. And there, I began to see something I will never forget. It was as if golden threads were coming out of me, threads of energy, of light, stretching out to other people. My mother, my father, my grandmother, my friends, even strangers with whom I had shared a kind word. These threads shone brighter when the love was genuine, when I truly listened, when I gave a heartfelt hug, when I forgave, when I helped someone without expecting anything in return. These simple moments, yet full of heart, were what truly connected me to others. Then beside me another scene appeared. It was like a tangle of cold, noisy blue digital threads. They came from my phone, my computer, the internet. But unlike the golden threads, these made me feel more alone. Even when I was talking to many people, my heart was silent. God, or that force of love guiding me, made me feel a question that wouldn't leave my mind. Who were you really connected to? It was like a gentle shock to the chest. I realized that true connection doesn't need wires, Wi-Fi, or likes. It happens when we are truly present, when we look into each other's eyes, when we listen with our souls, when we feel together. At that moment I saw what I was trading: the living, meaningful golden threads for quick, shallow, often empty digital connections. And then I decided, if I went back, I wanted to reconnect. For real. I wanted to strengthen each golden thread, one by one. I wanted to spend more time with those who love me. I wanted to say, I love you, while looking into their eyes. I wanted to listen more, judge less, feel more, post less, because in the end, when everything is over, what remains is not the messages on our phones, but the invisible bonds we build with love. I used to think I was always surrounded by people. Online friends, family group chats, work colleagues, notifications every 5 minutes. But in that other plane where everything was so clear, I saw something that pierced me deeply. I was alone, truly alone. There, what you feel inside shows up outside, and I saw emptiness, a hole in my chest. It was as if I had built a beautiful house on the outside but forgot to put in furniture, windows, and human warmth. I felt ashamed, because I realized that for a long time I had been trying to fill that void with everything that wasn't meant for it. Distractions, tasks, social media, even shopping. I was too busy to notice that inside I was missing real life. There, in the spiritual plane, I was shown scenes from my daily life. Me eating alone, scrolling on my phone in bed, pretending to be happy in photos but crying in the shower. And the worst part, I had become so used to that emptiness that I thought it was normal. I remember one scene in particular. I was at a party smiling at everyone, but inside I was screaming for help. There, in that other plane, that scream was heard, and it echoed loudly. Why have you distanced yourself so much from yourself, Salana? That's when it hit me. The most painful isolation isn't being physically alone, but being disconnected from yourself. I had forgotten to look within, to care for my soul, to ask myself how I was really doing. In that spiritual place, surrounded by peace and truth, I felt an invisible embrace from something much greater, as if it was saying, you can still come back. There's still time to find yourself. In that moment, hope was born inside me, and I promised myself, if I return to life, I won't let that emptiness grow again. I will learn to listen to myself, to embrace myself, to seek silence, to hear myself, not just to escape the noise, because now I know the isolation that truly hurts is losing yourself. After that deep silence, I dove into realizing the emptiness I carried. The mentors guided me to a new vision. They showed me what could happen if everything continued as it was, not just with me, but with the whole world. It was as if a curtain opened before my spiritual eyes. I saw cities full of people, but with empty gazes. Everyone busy, rushed, connected to everything but themselves. I saw children growing up without spiritual guidance, young people lost in comparisons and distractions, exhausted adults, and elderly people filled with silent regrets. There was a kind of greyness above all else. It wasn't something physical. It was emotional, energetic, like a haze of fatigue, apathy, and lack of purpose. No one looked up. No one closed their eyes in prayer. No one asked anymore, "Why am I here?" That hurt me more than anything, because I understood this apathy wasn't a punishment. It was a consequence of a life without pause, without reflection, without soul. But like a breath of hope, the mentors showed me another scene. It was more subtle, smaller, like a flickering flame in the darkness. I saw a woman waking up early, and before touching her phone, she closed her eyes and expressed gratitude. I saw a young man turning off his video game to listen to his grandfather talk about faith. I saw a simple man entering a small room and, with a sincere heart, asking God for strength. I saw someone feeling peace just by looking at the sky, sensing they were not alone. It was as if, through small gestures, another future was being built. One where the spiritual wasn't an afterthought, but the center of life. One of the mentors approached me and said in a calm voice, "The world changes when the spirit awakens. The alternative to apathy lies within each person's awareness. You've seen where this can lead. Now it's in your hands to choose how to live." I took a deep breath. Even without a physical body at that moment, I felt as if my heart had beat differently, as if something within me was rearranging. And it was there, in that vision between two possible futures, that I began to understand. True transformation doesn't happen in crowds, but in the intimate decision of a soul to stay awake. After everything I had seen, the emptiness, the golden threads, the possible future, something inside me still felt like I was missing one last answer. I wondered, but what about God? Where was He while all of this was happening? Did He see when I got lost? Did He hear when I screamed inside and no one listened? It was then that a light began to form before me. It wasn't an ordinary light. It seemed alive. It was warm, gentle, and at the same time immense, as if embracing everything around. I felt my spirit drawn toward it. I didn't walk or fly. I was simply pulled, as if my heart recognized that place. Suddenly I felt, not with my ears but with something deeper, as if a voice spoke directly inside me. And it wasn't a voice that judged, demanded, or accused. It was a presence, a certainty, a love so profound that I couldn't hold back my tears. God didn't say many words. He didn't need to. It was as if everything was expressed in a single breath, in a single vibration. But if I had to translate what I received there, it would sound something like this. "I have been with you all along, in your silences, in your doubts, in your distractions. Even when you wandered away, I continued to look at you with love. You are my daughter, and like every daughter, you have the right to learn to fall and to rise again. I will never abandon you. I will always wait for you." These words washed over me like a wave of light. I wasn't a lost sinner. I was a soul learning, and God wasn't a judge. He was a patient, firm, and deeply loving Father. That was when everything made sense. The golden connections I saw, the moments of pause, the small gestures that create another path. All of this was how God continues to reach us, even when the world tries to pull us away from Him. Before I returned to my body, I heard one more gentle phrase like a farewell. "Take this truth with you. You don't have to die to awaken. Whoever listens with their heart lives with the Spirit." And so, without fanfare or fear, I woke up. I found myself in a hospital surrounded by doctors, lights, and machines, but inside me was something new, a flame that never goes out. I returned to life with a mission, to remind the world that the message of God is still alive and resides in the silence of the heart. I know that everything I shared might sound like a grand journey, full of mysteries and spiritual encounters, but in the end, what I learned most is that we all have the capacity to hear the messages of the heart. If we're willing to pause for a moment and look within, God is not distant. He doesn't live only in sacred words or in churches. He lives in each of us, in small acts, in human connections, and in the silence of our souls. There's no need to wait for a grand moment of crisis or death to understand this. What I experienced, I carry with me every day. I learn to listen more, to connect with my essence, to see beauty in simple things. And if you're listening to me now, know this: that truth is yours too. God's love knows no limits. It doesn't need grand signs or complex words. It reveals itself in the simplest moments. So when you feel lost, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, remember, you are never alone. The path back to the light can be simple. All you have to do is open your heart. I am Salana, and that was my journey back to love. Now I invite you to begin your own, with courage, faith, and hope. May peace and light be with you always. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like down below. Also, share in the comments what touched you most in this video. I love reading your comments. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates on this journey. Until the next video.